Hello everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you about our curriculum and what our curriculum now looks like in 2022. We've created a curriculum with our drivers at the heart of it. So we're going to be thinking about our drivers of being curious learners, ambitious learners, collaborative learners, and healthy learners. We want to incorporate the needs of our children and our context. Our drivers were developed with all stakeholders and are essential elements which we felt children needed in order to become successful, lifelong learners. Our curriculum is knowledge-rich and delivered through adaptable child-centred topics which provide a meaningful and engaging context for their learning. So our curriculum is bespoke and unique to us, and it will follow the children along their learning journey throughout their time in our school. And we also ensure that our curriculum is progressive across each year group, knowing what the children have learnt before and knowing where the learning is going to take the children next. So within our curriculum, we need to think about the 3 I's, which are intent, what we are trying to achieve with our curriculum, the implementation, how we're going to deliver it and the opportunities that we provide our children, and the impact. What do we hope the impact of our curriculum will be and how are we going to measure it? We have to ensure that we're fully aware of these and how they're represented across our curriculum. So let's talk about healthy learners first. How can we ensure that we are ready to learn? We know that if children are not ready to learn and they haven't got those learning behaviours, they're going to find it hard to understand new learning. We have a huge focus on mental health in our school and having a healthy mind within it. We teach the children about positive characteristics and all the children having a sense of purpose, one where they feel that they belong to our school. Through many strategies, including self-regulation, the children are taught how to deal with challenging situations and challenges and know how to approach them to keep their mindset positive to ensure mental resilience. The impact of this will be that our children are able to recognise and name their feelings and employ strategies to regulate their emotion when facing challenges. Our children will have a positive outlook and the mental strength and resiliency to succeed in life, whatever their vocation. Curious learners. We want to develop learners who question and reason and justify. We want to give children the experiences to use the taught vocabulary and encourage them to use it accurately. We strive to ensure that our children's attainment in core and foundation subjects is in line with or exceeding their potential when considering varied starting points. We measure this carefully using a range of materials, but always considering age-related expectations. Our intended impact is that children will be academically and physically prepared for life in their next phase of learning, modern Britain and the world. We want the children to have the confidence to ask questions, to give them opportunities to challenge thinking and can create an environment where children are confident and feel safe to do so, accepting their answers and taking their learning on a journey wherever they ask. Ambitious learners. How we act when we learn. We want to develop the effective learner by instilling a growth mindset in the children, a really can-do attitude. If I don't know something, I don't know something yet, but I'm determined to get there. We need to give them the opportunities to be able to succeed. We want to give them the opportunity to be confident, to take risks in their learning. How can we take their learning forward? And give them those responsibilities and the sense of pride when they've been able to achieve something. All of these elements will drive self-improvement, and the result in ambition will be the children being ambitious, lifelong learners. Collaborative learners. Children thinking about how they are responsible citizens and their place within the world. Developing speaking and listening skills are important when working with others. This is linked to our school development plan this year. We know that children's communication and language skills have been impacted since COVID, so we can support this by providing opportunities for children to work with others, teaching them to develop their social skills, and adults will model this around the school, as we know that they do. Instilling the British values and developing global citizens who are aware of others, how they celebrate differences in others, and show respect towards them. We need to ensure that we have an understanding of the world around us. The impact of this will be that our children will have fully rounded characters with clear understanding of complex values like equity, equality, friendship, trust, and many others. Okay, so the next session, we're going to be looking at what our curriculum looks like. So what does it look like across different subjects? Before we do this, have a think. What are our curriculum drivers? Can you name them? Pause the video to have a quick think. Hopefully, you've remembered our 4 drivers at the heart of our curriculum: our curious learners, our ambitious learners, healthy learners, and collaborative learners. And all this, incorporated with skilled communicators, provides the opportunities for our children to learn here at Maryhill. So this is why we have decided to go for a knowledge-based curriculum. Our curriculum is knowledge-based and it's knowledge-rich and it's underpinned by our drivers. Evidence from the EEF and the importance of sequential lessons planned and delivered suggests that knowledge-rich learning ensures that we're clear in the knowledge that we want our pupils to know. We're not focusing on the skills. Our planning and our curriculum is well sequenced and underpinned by an understanding of how children learn, building on what they already know and making sure that we have a rich conception of knowledge that includes the skills and attitudes that contribute to success. So what would this look like in practice? When we're thinking about children using their long-term memory or sticky learning, we provide lots of opportunities for children to reflect on what they already know. We've done lots of work this year on retrieval practice, where the children have opportunities through lots of different games and activities to reflect on what they already know before they start a task or at the end of a new learning unit. We provide children with cold tasks, especially in writing, where children are asked to write a poem or asked to write a story before they learn how to write a story. This gives us an indicator of what the children can already do, and it highlights and informs our planning. We use activities like plickers, where the children are given a range of answers and they choose their answers and they hold up their answer, and it can be linked to our iPads, and quickly we can see who has learned and understood the learning that has been previously taught and who needs a little bit more work. Our timelines in our classroom are also a really good opportunity for children to reflect on what we already know. We display these on our walls, and also we use our blogs to show this too. Our phonics is a very clear picture of fidelity across our school. This is one of the most consistent things that we have, which we've just recently implemented in our school. Children have daily opportunities to reflect and review on some of the sounds that they've heard already. And our STEM sentences, particularly in maths, provide the children with the reasoning skills to be able to talk about what they know and how they know this. So how will we use planning? How will we use our curriculum? We use it for our planning, but we're not repeating it. We think about what our children do already know and how we can adapt it to suit our learning. It forms the basis of our planning. We want to ensure progression across the school and beyond when they go into Ashfields. Our lessons are sequential and they're in order to make sure that no learning opportunities are missed. So what does it look like? Gemma's already created an overarching curriculum intent, implementation and impact statement. This is the fundamentals of our curriculum. It's really important that we know and understand what this looks like. We talk about our healthy learners, further support our children's physical and mental health and well-being to ensure readiness for learning. We talk about curious learners to further develop our children's learning, what we learn. Ambitious learners, learning behaviours, how we act when we learn. What do we do when we find things tricky? How can we get ourselves out of that and make ourselves stronger learners? Being able to be collaborative learners, working with other children, being responsible citizens, and children being able to find their place in the world. So here's an example of what our curriculum looks like. So here's an overview of our topics, and the learning that we're looking at here and the subject that we're concentrating on here is geography. You can see under autumn term we've got our time travellers, and we have a blurb which explains how geography links to the time travellers topic. So within this topic, pupils will develop an understanding of themselves, the changes in the world in which they live, In the spring, dig a little deeper. How geography fits with this topic is within this topic, children will understand the effects of changing seasons. They will explore the natural world around them. And in the summer term, we have summer fun. And the children will be able to develop a greater understanding of the environment and changes, thinking about how some environments are different to the ones in which they live in. So you can see on the left-hand side, we've got our year groups of EYFS, Year 1, Year 2, our continuous provision, and our extracurricular activities. This is a progressive plan and how the children and what the children learn in EYFS and how that lends itself to into Year 1 and into Year 2. If we concentrate on Year 1, for example, we can see that in the autumn term, they're learning about Merry Hill and our school grounds. This is developing simple fieldwork and observational skills, and they're going to use aerial photographs to do that. So if we focus on what the children know the school well, okay, and by the end of this, they should be able to know even better. In the spring term, to take that forward, the children are going to be learning about Bushy, which is a larger area than our Merry Hill school grounds. And here, they're going to focus on using the human and physical features to describe a local area. And in the summer term, they're going to go even wider and think about the UK and the surrounding seas. So you can see how the learning progresses from the autumn to the spring and to the summer term, giving children lots of opportunities to develop their learning. So here it is broken down into the autumn term topic, but also the geographical concepts of locational knowledge vocabulary, and place knowledge. We know that since COVID, there are going to be gaps in some of the children's learning. So the concepts of locational knowledge and locational knowledge vocabulary and the place knowledge, they will stay the same. But the content within this may change depending on what the retrieval practice and the cold tasks provide for us. If we feel that the children have gaps in learning from a previous year, then we will need to make sure that we fill those gaps quickly before moving them on. So the idea is that they are progressive throughout the whole of the school. So locational knowledge in nursery will look at signs of autumn, and then reception will look at something slightly different in a bit more detail, which will then progress on into Year 1 and then progresses also into Year 2 as well. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you about reading. And within this, we're going to be thinking about what Ofsted will look for when they come into our school. So reading is essential. We know that reading is essential, and here are some key facts just for you to look at. Close to 1 in 4 children in England still cannot read well by the age of 11, in spite of significant progress in recent years. This figure rises to 2 in 5 among children from low-income families. A child who is behind in reading at the age of 11 is likely to face a difficult time in secondary school and beyond that in the world of work. 1 of 4 people earning less than £10,000 are not functionally literate, compared to fewer than 25 of those earning over £30,000. A child who does not reach a good level of reading development at the end of Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 is at risk of never catching up. These are really important messages, and I think actually reading these really hits home how important reading is and the impact that it has on children's lives later on in life. Here are some really good quotes. Once you learn to read, you'll be forever free. If you're going to get anywhere in life, you have to read a lot of books. If you don't have time to read, you don't have times or the tools to write. Simple as that. The last one from Stephen King stands out to me very clearly and highlights the importance of actually if you can't read, you can't write, and that impacts so much in your life in the future. So what do Ofsted say? In 2019, Ofsted made how children are taught to read a priority for inspections in schools. Under the new EIF, all infants, junior, primary and lower middle schools will undergo a reading deep dive. This is mandatory and includes phonics. As a school, we've done lots of reading deep dives, especially when our HIP, Carly Holloman, has come into school to deliver deep dives, asking lots of challenging questions, finding out what we're doing, where are our children, what do we do to support them, who are our lowest 20% children, making sure that we are answering the right questions in the right way. And the school inspection handbook states that during all inspections of infant, junior, primary and lower middle schools, inspectors must focus on how well pupils are taught to read, as a main inspection activity. So it just highlights the importance of reading. Reading will definitely be looked at when Ofsted come to our school. Here is what the Reading Framework 2021 says about reading. Children who are good at reading do more of it. They learn more about all sorts of things, and their expanded vocabulary gained from their reading increases their ease of access to more reading. Conversely, those of whom reading is difficult fall behind, not just in their reading, but in all subjects, and a vicious circle develops. This is why the national curriculum says it is essential that by the end of their primary education, all pupils are able to read fluently and with confidence in any subject in their forthcoming secondary education. So it's really important. Ofsted are hot on this, and we know this. So what we're making sure that we're doing is developing lots of strategies, embedding reading across lots of areas around our school. So what is our reading intent at Maryhill? We want to foster a lifelong love of reading. We want to teach the children the skills to discuss what they read. This will work alongside our synthetic phonics program, ELS, so the children are able to use the skills, use the knowledge to help them with their reading. We want to be able to develop fluent, enthusiastic and critical readers. And we want to be able to develop people's fluency so that they have a better understanding of the text they read. And we also want to immerse the children in books which celebrate the culture and diversity of our children. We cultivate the behaviours that they will need to be discerning readers as they read frequently and widely to develop the skills to discuss what they read. The curriculum is delivered through synthetic phonics, a linked approach to shared and guided reading, home reading, reading across the curriculum, and regular opportunities for independent reading and hearing quality text read aloud every day. All of these are essential components as they offer the range of opportunities needed to be fluent, enthusiastic, and critical readers. So implementation, here we're talking about how we deliver reading across our school. What opportunities are we providing for our children throughout the school day? So daily reading of a wide range of high quality chosen texts. We work alongside Pi Corbett's Talk for Writing framework to assist the children in language development, speaking and listening skills, especially before we start to write. We know the importance of communication. We know that it's a very hot topic, and ensuring that children have given opportunities to talk, as this helps their reading, which impacts their writing. They are all linked. Essential Letters and Sounds programme. This is something that we've embedded across our school since the beginning of this year. The use of decodable text is essential. The children need to be able to read these texts independently all the way through. Our topic-based learning provides opportunities to embed reading across the curriculum, looking at ways to incorporate different reading texts, different genres. Trying to incorporate this within our topics is essential. And we also use guided reading and our opportunities for independent reading. And our well-stocked library here at Maryhill, and also going to the local library in Bushy. So the impact, what will our readers be like at the end of their time here at Maryhill? We want our children to be confident and competent readers, giving them lots of opportunities to talk about them, about the books that they're reading. The children will be able to apply the reading skills and apply them into their writing to help them write, be selective over the word choices that they make. The People Voice shows a love of reading and an understanding of its importance. The children have a range of strategies to support them with their reading. And we know that our data is significantly higher than county and nationwide, and we need to continue with this data trend. We want to instill a love of reading for our children, encourage them to read. The best skill that we can teach our children is the ability to read. We know that this will set them up for life. So what makes a good reader? There are 3 key ingredients: decoding, fluency, and comprehension. These are the skills that we know we need to be able to teach our children to do in order to help them read successfully and independently. So what will Ofsted look for when they come into school? What will your role be? Most likely, you will be observed listening to the children read a decodable text. This will need to be an unknown text for the children. The text will be unknown, so they will not be able to, they won't have seen this text before, but this doesn't mean that you don't have the opportunities to read the text beforehand. The text must be matched to the children's reading ability and should be fully decodable. They should be able to read the book independently. So now we're going to continue with our reading, learning, and finding out a little bit more information about how important it is and some of the basic skills that we need to make sure that we're doing when we're reading with our children. So here's a quick reminder of what Ofsted will look for and your role. When you're reading with the children, it's important to make sure that you've read the book in advance, making sure you know what the story is. Although this is unknown to the children, this text, it doesn't mean that it can't be unknown to you. Encourage the children to use their phonics, the ELS phonics, which we know is embedded across our school, to support their reading skills. Are they able to use their robot arms and their blending hands if they need to? The decodable text should mean that they don't need to use their robot arms and blending hands, but if they do, for whatever reason, they can use them. They should be able to read this book pretty much 100% accurately. It's important to make sure that you're asking questions to the children to develop their inferential understanding. Are they able to retrieve basic questions, answers to basic questions? Can they infer? Can they focus on empathy? So the types of questions that we're going to think about next are retrieval questions, ones that require inferential understanding, and then a focus on empathy. And the tools that we want to encourage the children to be able to do is using their phonics, reading to the end of the sentence if they're unsure of a word, find words within a word, and using a picture to help them. So here's a text that we're going to focus on. And it reads like this. Wednesday the 16th of May. Dear Mum and Dad, I'm living in this huge, great house. And when I wake up in the morning, I don't look out at the streets and the houses and the cars like at home. I look out on green fields and trees and hills. It's magic. When I get up, I'm going to go to school. I'm going farming, real farming. So within that text, here's an example of each type of question that we could ask the children. So a retrieval question, for example, what can the boy see from his window? An inferential question, how do you know the boy's home is not in the countryside? Why does the book start with, Dear Mum and Dad? So good questions that the children have to really think about the answer to. What's telling them the answer to that question? What information have they used to help them answer it? And then a further empathy question. How do you think the boy feels living away from home? Why do you think that? So asking a question, but then asking for a little bit more information. Asking for more. Why do you think that? What's telling you that's the answer to your question? Here's an example of some further comprehension questions that you might want to ask. These questions are there to encourage the children to think about what the answer could be. The answer may not be retrievable, they may not be able to find a word to help them, but they have to think about what could happen next. Try and think about what they already know about the text and how that can help them to answer these questions.